What is up, Mets fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Mets'd podcast. A good one, another happy one. The Mets go into LA, take the series. Granted, we don't need to talk about Sunday. Sunday was ugly. Don't worry about it. We were due. What are the Mets going to win 7 in a row? This isn't the 2022 Mets. We're still working up to get there, but the Mets are playing some baseball that is encouraging. Again, taking 2 out of 3 against the big, bad Los Angeles Dodgers. James, I believe you are still in the same country that you were on the last episode. But new city, where we at?
Still in Spain, Sevilla. Beautiful, lovely, wonderful city. Great old architecture. So many churches, so many pictures of Jesus and saints and stuff on the streets. Very, very religious. Very religious city. There's an entire section of one section of the city. Every street is named after virgins, like different kinds of virgins. Virgins de los Montañas, Virgins de Victoria. Yeah, exactly. Mark, the street named after Mark the Virgin. Yeah. But amazing place. Accidentally was here during the Feria, like their big Sevilla festival, which is like the biggest festival in the whole country of Spain. That goes for a week where everybody gets pissed drunk in these tents for a week straight. Went on Saturday and they do like a section of it is like everyone just like dressing really well in tents and like getting drunk, like suits, and all the women are wearing the flamenco gowns with the little hair things. And then the other half of it is like the Jersey boardwalk, but in Spain. I rode some rides. They have like fried foods. They have like kebabs and hamburger stands. It's hilarious, but we have a very fun time. Wonderful city. La Sangria, good place to be.
And honestly, it makes it even better when the Mets are winning and playing some baseball. Game 1 especially really got the vibes going because we had Yoshinobu Yamamoto, enemy number 1, maybe number 2. I don't know where
6.
we put him. Is 6? Yeah, I mean, now that we saw him pitch, it's really not that important to us anymore because that fastball is absolute meat. It looked so hittable. I don't know what's going on. I thought he had a good fastball.
We tell people about the concept of a heavy fastball, which is when the guys who pitch have like the really steep approach angle and throw a fastball just gets into the bottom zone quickly. Yamamoto has a light fastball, which something's about it really good. The fact that he has the low arm angle, not the low arm angle. My brain doesn't work very well now. The flat arm angle, and it kind of rises up on you in the zone, but it doesn't rise enough to really get over your bat. It just stays on your bat. And it seems like Yamamoto, and you guys probably saw us watching this game. I mentioned it to you during the last episode. He's just throwing them all right down the middle. Like, I don't know. There's definitely an adjustment coming over from Japan where, one, the ball is different. So you're gripping on the seams differently. It's probably moving differently. Probably not getting as much action, or maybe too much action or less action. Something is probably weird they still has to adjust to it. I still think he's going to adjust. The whip is still low. Yeah. You can definitely just see it was like a lot of balls were put in play really hard, but it's probably a couple starts like Yamamoto gets his feet wet here. But the Japanese strike zone is much more east to west. The American strike zone is much more north to south. And the Dodgers like to keep these fastballs low. And I guess Yamamoto should probably get them higher, or maybe he should just like move to a 2-seam and keep it more middle, left, and right. I don't know what he has to do, but every fastball is right down the middle, and the Mets did so much damage in those fastballs. DJ Stewart's big home run and his deep sac fly that I thought was going to be another home run. Those are both on fastballs. Bader's RBI single and double were both on fastballs. Overall, we put 7 of Yamamoto's fastballs in play. The softest hit one was 94 miles an hour. The softest. Wow. And the average exit velocity and all the fastballs we put in play were 100 miles an hour. So we had a game plan to hit that fastball, and we teed off on it.
And it seemed like the Mets' game plan as well was to be aggressive early because his curveball and his splitter are disgusting. Those pitches are nasty. And it seemed like the Mets consciously went into this game going, we know that he seems to throw this fastball over for a strike. And that's something that we saw with Kodai Senga early on in his career too with the Mets. Remember last year where it was like Senga really would go fastball, sweeper, ghost fork every single time. It got a little bit predictable, and it seems like Yamamoto's falling into that same thing where first pitch, he's looking to get that strike over so he can go to those secondary pitches, and that fastball, as we know, is super hittable, and the Mets jumped all over it, which was fantastic. And as a guy who chose to go to the Dodgers instead of playing for the Mets and got paid all that money, it just felt really, really good. Again, not a petty podcast, We're always professional over here on the Mets'd podcast, but felt really good to smack him around just a little bit.
And also really nice to get this all out of the way again before it seems like he's probably going to figure it out. Like he right now, as far as fastball, starting pitchers in baseball, I'm just want to make sure I get this. For guys who have made at least 3 starts, he has the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, 6th highest average exit velocity or highest hard hit percentage on that fastball. It got crushed. And I think he's going to find a way. We saw that Kodai Senga last year took about a month and a half, and then he kind of made the adjustment to use the cutter more and then to play that with the ghost fork, and then it went ballistic. We're seeing Shota Imanaga.
Yes, James. Way to go.
he's having the best start to the season of anybody almost in the league right now. Like, let alone rookies or people coming over from Japan. So he's like a special breed. But just it was so nice. We talked about it the last episode. Just to be like, also just to wing it, get up early game one of the series, hit this guy who spurned us. Felt amazing. And then our guy, in response to this, Sean Manaea, another start where totally fine. Got
So
through,
fine.
did what he had to do. But you guys definitely seeing like the straw house mentality I talked about last episode, him, where it's just, it seems like if it doesn't all come together, it doesn't all really work. It's just you're gonna labor through five, and you're gonna just pray to God every inning.
Yeah, but luckily for Sean Manaea, we got Reed Garrett. We got Reed Garrett. It doesn't matter. The best reliever in baseball? Question mark. Reed Garrett. Is that the TikTok? Is that the short? Because this guy has been disgusting. He did get in a little bit of trouble because Joey Wendell. I guess maybe he was still time traveling at the time. He didn't get back into the current era yet. He was making errors at third base in what was it, the sixth inning, that
Yeah,
just really cost his team. It made the game closer than it should have been. Led to that Chris Taylor hit for the guy who was, I think, had like 3 hits on the year, had been playing so incredibly terrible. But yeah, Joey Wendell making some horrendous plays over there. Got Mets fans particularly mad on Twitter, and I get it because Joey Wendell, up until that point, really hadn't done much besides that one big hit. But he did redeem himself later in the series, getting a few more hits there. I saw a really funny tweet, again, in that Mets Twitter community, which if you're not in it, it's
been
just, there's
going.
content in there, man. There's some good stuff. And someone was making a tweet about how comparing David Stearns to Billy Epler. And he's like, we know that Epler was forcing Buck to play Vogelback, and we gave him a lot of crap about that. When are we going to start to turn on David Stearns for forcing Carlos Mendoza to play Joey Wendell instead of Zach Short? And I'm like, buddy, have you looked at Zach Short's numbers? Like, I'm sure he's a nice guy. He's got a good story, but it's not like he's doing anything to deserve this playing time either.
No, it sucks that just, again, Wendell is short himself too. He's gotten some of this, but he's on this team to play defense. Now we're up to basically 3 errors in 2.5 weeks of baseball. It's not in the spot you want to be for someone that is on a guaranteed major league contract for a couple of $1 million, where every time I watch Joey Wendell play, and again, there's nothing really specifically against Joey Wendell, but it's just, I wish that that roster spot was being occupied by a healthy Ronnie Mauricio. The
Yes.
addition of some power, some vibes, some energy, just some flair that would have for this team right now, I think would just be such a fun addition to what's already been a really, really fun season so far. But also, luckily, this did not matter at all because Francisco Lindor, lefty Lindor, came up the next inning and finally hit a home run left-handed. Now this entire series, you got to hit every single game left-handed, and it feels like the page is starting to turn Lindor. You had a really funny tweet about it, talking about
Yes.
fuck the Lindor because he's back. And again, it's just going to be a thing where you guys are going to look up in 4 weeks. You'll be like, oh, Lindor is hitting 245 with 7 homers and 25 RBIs, just like we thought he would be if he would have just got hit on the head or been in Europe for 2 weeks for the season to start, not really realized how bad he was to actually start the year.
So I watched Brandon Nimmo on Mookie Betts' podcast over on Bleacher Report. I don't know if you caught any of the conversation over there, but they actually talked about the slow start to the season for the Mets, and they talked about Brandon Nimmo being like a captain on the team. And Nimmo's like, well, this team's a little bit different. We all lead in different ways. Nimmo's like, I'm never going to be the rah-rah guy. Pete's more of the rah-rah guy. He loves the big moment, loves getting people excited. He goes, Lindor has a little rah-rah in him, but he's more of a lead by example. And the fact, he goes, he's the most even keeled person I've ever been around. He goes, you can't tell if he's hitting 100 or if he's hitting 500. You can't tell if he had a good day or a bad day at the plate. And I think that's kind of something that us Mets fans and just in general sports fans forget about, is that it's such a long season. I mean, think about how we were talking even just a couple weeks ago about this Mets team and what we're saying about them now. Very different vibes. But that's what makes Lindor one of the best shortstops too, is yes, he stunk to start the year. He's been hot ever since he got the standing ovation. I actually think he's hitting over 300 with a couple home runs and RBIs, which is just, it's funny. That's going to be the date that we all like artificially use as the turning point for Francisco Lindor's season. But I'm about it because good. I'm glad that we cheered for him. But I like to hear Brandon Nimmo talk about like the kind of chemistry or how this team works, because we don't get to hear that a lot too often. How many podcasts even get to talk to this guy? Not many. And it's not like they're asking these kind of questions. So the fact that he was able to talk about that and brought up Lindor being so calm, being so even keel, it showed in the series like this where if you didn't know, if you took away the numbers, you would have thought Francisco Lindor was doing the stuff that he did last year.
The team definitely has a unique level of camaraderie. And I think a lot of that comes from a lot of these guys having been together, whether it be in the Mets minor leagues or the major leagues for a very long time, especially guys like Nimmo and Pete, who probably were aware of each other for going on 7 full years now. I mean, drafted many years apart, but not that different in age, just because of the difference of going to college versus going to the league straight out of high school. Then it's also, I think, hard for people, especially New Yorkers, to understand that mentality with Lindor, where it's just like we get mad about everything and we get really happy about everything too. It's like you're riding down the street, you get cut off at a stop sign. Fuck you. Then you're like, you go to your grocery store. There's a deal on salami. Let's fucking go.
Great
Like
day.
it goes up and down. It goes up and down. Everything changes a lot. So the concept of being even keeled for 162 game season is kind of foreign to you and I and most people in general. So the fact that he can do that at the level he's at, with the pressure he's under, with the money he makes, with the talent he has, with what he's done in the major leagues, with what he will continue to do in the major leagues, it's amazing. And again, it was always a matter of time. The full season line still looks pretty ugly, but now we're going on, like you said, like a week and a half, and we're definitely going to make a mental note. We're going to do a little bookmark. We're going to take that little thing right there. That's the date we're going to use for the physical endorsements X date, and then we're going to rank him for all his stats and get a bunch of impressions. It's going to be amazing. But that was the big play in this game, and also just the fact that he says after the game, I was really happy to pick up Wendell. He was like, he made a bad play. He's been going through it. He's feeling the pressure. Doesn't matter. We got you. We're a team. Like, we're going to win a game. And just Marte and Stewart added on, got some insurance late, and just to beat Yamamoto that first game and like keep this winning streak going, because you can beat the Royals, you can beat the Pirates. Suddenly you walk into Los Angeles and you beat a $300 million pitcher and the Giants, and the Dodgers, and then you mostly keep Freeman, Lindor, Freeman, Betts, and Ohtani at bay. And I think that a lot of that, and we'll talk about more as we get into game 2 with Budo, especially with Minaya in this game, and all the relievers, really. Seems like Hefner's game plan was, we're not letting these guys beat us.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that,
There were
because
no strikes thrown to these guys almost the whole series.
And in game 2 now, which we'll move into that one, or I guess we'll talk about Alvarez in a second here. But even like in game 2, you could notice with Budo, it almost looked at times, I told you his mechanics were all over the place against Ohtani, Betts, and Freeman. I was like, what's going on with his mechanics here? Like, he's missing way away. Like, he's not really particularly close. But that for sure was the Mets game plan. We are not going to let Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Shohei Ohtani beat us, because those are 3 of the best players in baseball. And relatively speaking, the construction of this Dodgers team, as insanely good as it is, this is not a shot at the Dodgers. Dodgers fans, if you're listening, you're going to probably get mad and take it out of context. But after the top end guys, and this is most teams, but there is a massive fallout in production right now. Like, James Outman, I don't think is a bad player, but he's hitting like 150. Chris Taylor, I don't think is a bad player, but he has 3 hits on the season. There's a huge drop. Maybe he's bad now. There's a huge drop off. Same thing with the bullpen. Like, their bullpen arms are just kind of not very good. They get hit. They're erratic. They're not consistent. And this is why you see the Dodgers team maybe have a little more struggles than you would expect for what is supposed to be like the odds-on favorite to win the World Series this year.
Yeah, I mean, Gratterall's injured as well. Will Smith's still hitting really well. Teoscar Hernandez is producing so much, but that's why it kind of, the Teoscar Hernandez signing, that a lot of people were like, why are the Dodgers doing this? This is ridiculous. They didn't need him. Now it seems like they probably need another one of him. They probably need a second Teoscar Hernandez, because him hitting 5th really bridges, or 4th or 5th. I can't remember what the guys are hitting anymore. Sunday was a weird game to watch. But this team, and this is the struggle they've gotten into the last few years, where they get into these playoff series, 1 or 2 of those top guys get called, and then they go 2 innings where no one can really get a hit.
Shout out Ernie. Shout out Ernie. This is his whole argument that he's had with us. We have a friend, again, friend of the podcast, Ernie, our Venezuelan friend. For years, we have argued with him. He's like, the Dodgers can't win in the playoffs. It's not sustainable, blah, blah, blah. Starting to see it a little bit, starting to be enlightened, just based on the fact of how this roster is built. They can't afford guys to have a series off.
The other thing we have to talk about now with this game ending is the horrible Francisco Alvarez injury, which sucks. And then this is what happens when one of your better players is a catcher. You're going to get beat up. You're going to get bruised. When Mendoza is giving him these off days, shame on us, shame on everybody for being like, why is Alvarez not in the lineup more often these days? That thumb got hit really hard the last game of the series against the Pirates. It didn't get hit in a backswing. It got hit in like a swing. I don't remember who it was. It was Riley.
It was Henry Davis.
It was Henry Davis. You're right. Another catcher on catcher. Crap bastard. Son of a bitch. But also, the Mets have gotten called for an inordinate number of catcher interferences this season. I don't know why. I don't know.
I personally think we have to make a change to that rule, and it's not because of like what happened to Alvarez, but just around in baseball. It is stupid that the batter gets rewarded for theoretically taking a bad swing, because you can do catcher's interference every single swing if you want to. Take a late swing, swing backwards, hits the glove. There's no penalty for the hitter as long as you make contact with that glove. You are getting awarded first base no matter what on the swing. So there's got to be some way to change. I don't think Henry Davis was doing that on purpose. I think he just got blown up on a fastball that he was late on, and Alvarez was trying to be quick with it and frame it, and that's part of it too. People trying to steal as many inches as possible. The catchers being more aggressive, catching him more out front. But yeah, he went down in that one. I actually thought he was going to come out of the game. I was like, oh no. And then rounding first on one of the plays.
Even before this, though, that same game, the game against the Pirates, Twitter loved it, but Alvarez stole second base. And immediately Keith went, oh, I hate when he slides head first, because you saw it and he slid and he hit the thumb and the wrist, everything bent back on the base. And you're like, oh
game,
no.
Couldn't see that.
Yeah, there you go. You can see that. So then now all that comes together. And then, like you were just about to say, he rounds first hard. He slips. He picks himself up with that hand. I think it's the right. I'm trying to think. Is the left hand?
I think it's the right hand. No, it's left hand. Left hand,
okay.
Left hand, because
probably worse, the throwing hand. Yeah. God damn it, sucks. And he just picks himself up with it. He's really writhing in pain. He puts on the little mitt. He winds up coming around to score after the hustle double, which was a big run to score. And then now the reporting around this made me really upset too, because all the student Mendoza comes out after the game. Refreshing coming after from Buck being a smug asshole the last few years, being like, this is really bad. He looked like he was really in pain. I'm like, I'm not excited about this. So I was like, okay, I think the real breath of fresh air for Carlos Mendoza being really genuine so far in these pressers. He's been doing it a lot. I don't know, maybe it's just because he's green and the team's playing well that we love it. Maybe he's going to start being less contrite if the team starts not playing well, or PR is like, hey, you can't just start saying these things, dude. Because yeah, who knows? Because then you get that like a little while after the game, they're like, "Oh, just a sprain. We're good. No structural damage. He's going to avoid surgery." Everyone just tweeted that, and then Anthony DeComo right after, again, now jumping around a little bit, the great feelings after the big shutdown win on Saturday night as the Knicks were pushing through the second half. Yeah. Bang! Breaking news: Francisco Alvarez torn UCL in the stump, 6 to 8 weeks. Like, fuck!
You're like, damn it! Why can't we have anything? We can't have anything nice in this world. Yeah, that is a blow, because while Francisco Alvarez has not hit really consistently yet this year, he is just so much better than Omar Narvaez, and we know the impact that he's made defensively for this team, and especially with the pitching staff. You can see that. And now that means Tomas Nido comes up to the team, and as much as we love the Nido King, I mean, the guy swings the world's heaviest bat. Like, I don't know what it is, but that bat's got to weigh 500 pounds.
I mean, again, we say that, and now we're just jumping around a lot, having some fun. But as bad as Narvaez is defensively, Nido is not. Nido's awesome defensively. Always has been, always will be. He threw out the Mets' first base runner of the season on Sunday, which was hilarious. Will Smith. That's a real heat check by teams playing the Mets trying to steal it back. So thank God for that one. But I don't know. It sucks that now, with especially that lineup on Saturday, also still didn't have Brett Baty in it. Yeah. And then I know right now Harrison Bader is Willie Mays, but like eventually he won't be anymore. He'll be Harrison Bader again.
Yeah, it's going back to Harrison Bader.
Yeah. So eventually, if he's Harrison Bader again, and then either Tomas Nido or Omar Narvaez are hitting ninth, like this lineup has just suddenly lost a ton of punch.
Yes, definitely. It's a little bit scary. But game 2, they came out, they started swinging again. Lindor at that lefty swing, getting an RBI in the first, which felt really good. Rare time that we've been able to take early leads, and especially against the Dodgers, it is nice to just kind of have their backs up against the wall in what felt like was going to be a chaos game, because Gavin Stone couldn't throw any strikes, was walking everybody. Jose Budo couldn't throw any strikes, was walking everybody. I feel like there was 4 or 5 opportunities in the first 3 innings between both of these teams where they had bases loaded, and it was a 1-0 game.
The Dodgers, Keith said it, or who said it? Gary said it, Ryan? Someone said it during Sunday when the Dodgers had bases loaded for like the second time of the game already in the 4th inning. They were like, it's got to be the 5th or 6th time the Dodgers had bases loaded in the last 12 innings. They really, I think it was true. But Budo tried so hard. And in terms of what it could have been, it really wasn't that bad. Like there was a lot of moments where he was super nails to do it. And similar to what we talked about, he was all over the place against the big guys. I think Hefner was just like, we're not letting them beat us. Like, just get tough in the at-bats against Will Smith, Teoscar Hernandez, James Outman, Andy Pages, and like, let's just get through those guys. And we'll only give up maybe 1 or 2 runs, but like, at least we won't get these games busted open like what ended up happening on Sunday. And that first inning, I think, was a really good microcosm of that for Budo, because he did load the bases, and a run may have come in. No, I don't remember if one came in the first inning, but he got the 2 bases low strikeouts of Outman and Pages. And that Pages at bat was like one of my favorite at bats I think I've watched in baseball so far this first month of the year. It was awesome. It was just between a good young pitcher and a good young hitter just making his first week in the major leagues. Pages is a good player. I'm
Yes,
putting the
good
stamp on
player.
for Pages. He could do a lot of things well. I don't think he's ever going to be a star. Defense, base running, good at bat, some
Good
power,
arm.
speed, like good arm. He's just someone who you want to come up and have on your team for free. Like he's a good ball player. But the sequencing was just so pretty on this at bat. Bases loaded, some walks, 2 outs. Sweeper for strike one. Just dropped it in there. Really nice pitch. Then next pitch, sweeper down just below the zone. Pajes gave a little flinch on it, no chase. Okay, nice. Then he beats him upstairs, 95, middle high. And then he throws it about same spot on the plate, but 3 inches higher, 96, no chase. I'm like, okay, we got 2 strikes on it, but he can't take that cheddar. So then what's Budo do? Goes to the bread and butter. Change up low in the zone, foul tip. Beat me again. Change up low in the zone, another foul tip. Like, all right, step off, look at the batter, check the little timeout. This is really nice at bat. They threw a sweeper bad miss 2-2, and they just threw a 96 fastball in the zone. Beat him, got out of the inning. I was just like, that was an at bat where like that's not a pitcher who was scared. That is a pitcher with a plan. That's someone who was ready to execute and just think he's stronger willed than the guy at the plate, and that's how he got through that inning.
Yeah, Jose Budo's got balls. I think that if
Major.
there's anything to note, he has got some fucking balls on him when he's pitching. Gotta love that, especially when we've seen pitchers on this Mets team that don't have balls and like to nibble and don't like to attack batters. And it's infuriating as a fan to watch, especially like Jose Budo's like, I got good stuff. Like, go ahead, try and hit it, beat me. What I also thought, again, going back to this Brandon Nimmo Mookie Betts podcast, he talked about that sometimes the fans don't know what's going on the field. And it wasn't like in a bad way. He was like, you might see someone drop down a sacrifice bunt. It might be because he doesn't feel comfortable with the guy up at the plate, but that the mentality of the team is we are going to do the things that we think are the best to win. Mendoza's like what Mendoza says, whatever you think is going to help this team win more, I'm fine with you doing it. And I think this pitching around Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, this whole scenario thing could also just be like the pitcher being like, this is not necessarily the best matchup for me. I feel better against a Teoscar Hernandez. I can strike out this guy who strikes out 40% of the time. Like, I feel better than trying to challenge Freddie Freeman with 2 outs. And you saw that in this game. Again, it wasn't pretty from Jose Budo, but he battled. A little bit of bulldog in him. Everybody loves to use that term when you're talking about pitchers in baseball. But he was really good. The issue was, shouldn't have faced Shohei Ohtani, though, in the 5th.
No, he definitely shouldn't have. It's just like, I think there was a situation where we now know that Brooks Raley's injured, so I think the Mets were kind of a man down the bullpen. So you're like, please just get through one more inning. And he got Mookie Betts the inning before to end the inning, but it was a long fly ball. And it's just, you saw that Budo was pushing so hard in those early innings to get through. Like he was sitting 95, 96 every fastball. And then it ticked down to 94 and then 93. And then he was throwing some 92s back once we got to that 4th inning. And then we were like, okay, just take him out. Like take these 4 innings and the 1 run or 2 runs. I think it was 1 run, whatever it was. Just like be okay with it. It's just he threw in so many pitches, but I think they just tried to juice that one more, which maybe that's something you do in April, but not in August. Yeah. It's just like it be a little bit of a player development thing. It's a little bit of try and save one more inning of the bullpen thing. A little bit just try and like get him back to the clubhouse with like a real grin on his face instead of like I got out of there. Okay, so like I'm not going to fault it, but if we're just trying to simply think of this so one dimensional run prevention in the game we're playing, he shouldn't have gone back out there to face Ohtani. And the 3rd time Ohtani saw him, he just laced a double on not even a bad pitch. It was a slider low and outside, just the way that Ohtani has those freaky arms, the things he can do with the bat head. Just like I can't even believe it sometimes. But then he still got the out of Freeman after him, and then Ohtani's after Freeman. He got Will Smith.
No, Freeman's after Ohtani.
Yeah, Freeman's after Ohtani.
Trust yourself.
I had that one. But then he got Teoscar Hernandez 2 strikes too, and then just hits him with a sinker that got away. So like, all right, now take him out. Now it just feels like now you're losing it here. And then Tonkin let one in and tie the game after that. And it's just like, damn, that 1 run didn't have to stay on the board. And at the time, you're like, I don't know. Now we might lose this game because of that decision. But we'd not lose this game because of that decision. Because coming up not long after that is the best 2-hitter in baseball, the best 2-hitter that this team could ever have, Starling Marte, with a big home run to take the lead.
We got to apologize. We owe an apology to Mets fans, to listeners, to Starling Marte, Carlos Mendoza, David Stearns. Was not familiar with your game, Starling Marte. I forgot. I mean, saw you play last year for a month. I was like, holy shit, we're so fucked. And then forgot how good he was in 2022. And he's been phenomenal ever since they moved him to the 2-hole. Obviously, the offense has been better. Lindor's been better. I don't know what it is. Baseball brain tells me everything is wrong about this, but it's working. So I will applaud it and say, Starling Marte, well done. I was actually recording a video live when that home run happened, got the live reaction in the video.
Nice. And also just looking at like some very basic batting order splits on Baseball Reference. Marte's got a 115 OPS plus 2, a 94 OPS plus 5th, and a 65 OPS plus at 6. And there's not that many at bats there, 18, 25, 49, but that's a huge difference. And the fact that right now in the year he has 4 home runs and he's slugging the way he's slugging. And something else I like about what Marte is doing right now is he seems like he's just taking more pitches. He's getting deeper into these counts, which we said was the biggest thing for him.
Yes.
The 2 biggest reasons we said we didn't want him hitting second were he doesn't really get deep into counts and he doesn't have enough power. You know what?
He's doing it.
He's getting deep into counts and he has tons of power. So this is
he said,
great.
Fuck you guys. You don't know me.
God, I love being proved wrong when the Mets play bad well because of it. And Marte, I think the second or third time this week, won us a baseball game.
Yep. And also love that Carlos Mendoza went to Edwin Diaz in a non-save situation in the 8th inning to face the best players and best hitters on this team. Just love when I see smart baseball like that. It's just so good. And especially when you have the second best closer in baseball, Reed Garrett, going behind him to get his first save of his career. You don't even have to worry about that anymore.
That's the key for it, because when you now have another guy in his bullpen, we're here. We've been here for like 2 weeks. All my data nerds on Twitter get behind it too. Everybody is starting to ride the Reed Garrett train. My guy TJ Stats, Thomas Nestico says what?
Is he on a fantasy baseball team yet of yours?
He is in the process of a waiver claim pickup right now. Okay. I hope no one's listening because it's a saves and holds league. And my cousin who I talk fantasy with a lot, we talked about it. He picked him up in a deep saves and holds league last week. And this week he got a save and a win out of Reed Garrett. So huge for the categories early in the season. We love seeing that. But Reed Garrett did the thing again, guys. Again, I did a tweet about it that did really well on Saturday night while I was in the middle of the night watching the Knicks in bed, trying to get the Reed Garrett tweet out because I was like, hey, this is my content. I need to get this out. The guy just doesn't throw fastballs. And it's I don't know. I don't doubt that this can last, but I don't know how far the Mets are going to push it until teams really start to sit. But you can't really sit Splitter. Has anyone sat Splitter before? But
I don't think so.
I don't know either. And then because then he drops the sliders after it that actually get the called strikes. It's so bizarre how he's pitching. I can't wait to like really be back in America and like watching these games significantly more intently than I'm watching them now just to see this. But on Saturday, 1 fastball, 1 sinker. On Friday, 1 fastball, 4 sinkers. On last Tuesday, 2 fastballs, 2 sinkers. Last Friday, 1 fastball, 0 sinkers. Like he just doesn't throw fastballs anymore. It's all 2 slider variations and splitters. And the splitters are never in the strike zone. Hitters keep chasing them because I don't know how you can't chase that splitter. It looks like a strike 90% of the way and it totally falls out. He's doing things right now that nobody else in the league is doing. This is unique psycho shit. We saw Matt Whistler try this a few years ago. Matt Whistler's one of my favorite leaders ever because he would just throw 90% sliders. But
Jacob Junis.
Yeah, Jacob Junis did this actually as like a glue guy for the Giants last year where he was throwing like 70% sliders. But this is even crazier. Like he's having these on Tuesday, he did 31 pitches. There are only 4 fastballs. I guess that's kind of the same percentage as the 2 with the 13 and the 1 and 15. But the fact that he's mixing 2 fastball variations, neither of them are getting above the 7% usage in any individual outing since the first few of the season. It's so rare. It's so unique. I'm wondering if we're going to see more copycats. I would love to hear Mets people talk about this, but Jeremy Hefner, I never want him to speak to the media, so it's okay. This whole thing is so fucking cool, and it makes me feel like such a geek and such a nerd. But the fact that we right now, as Mets fans, as the Mets, we have the pop-up reliever in April, guys. We're the team doing it. Yes. We have the guy everyone's talking about, and he really, truthfully, is good.
Yeah, he's been phenomenal. Shout out David Stearns for keeping him around. He was here last year. Don't know what happened, why it didn't work last year, but he's here now, and I'm glad it is. So that was good. Mets get the win the series. Again, wasn't a pretty game, but a good win all in all at the end for the Mets to take the series against the Dodgers, which when we start the year 0-5, to take another series from the Dodgers Sunday, you're playing with house money at that point. And to be fair, it was gone pretty quickly. Adrian Hauser got in trouble, gave up Shohei Ohtani's 176th home run of his career, the most ever by a Japanese-born player. So he passed Hideki Matsui in significantly less games. I think 500 less games than Hideki Matsui he did that in. Shohei Ohtani is a freak. I don't know if we'll ever actually fully appreciate how insanely good this guy is as a baseball player. Again, I read that stat out to you guys before the series last time. He was hitting like 440 coming into the series without runners in scoring position, and he was hitting like 1 for 25 with them. So he's unbelievable. Adrian Hauser just got shelled. This is what we've known about Adrian Hauser, is that against the bad teams, he's going to look like Greg Maddux. Against the good teams, he's going to look like Adrian Hauser. Like, that's just how it is.
I want to give Adrian Howard some credit because we got to the beginning of this game and it was 2-0 Dodgers, and like the Dodgers moved their schedule around after we ended the recording, and it was Tyler Glass now against Adrian Hauser instead of James Paxton against
Yeah.
Adrian Hauser. That's really different for the Mets and for Adrian Hauser. Like, you guys got the up close and personal look at Tyler Glass now for as long as you decided to keep the game on. If you weren't watching the Rangers, let's go Rangers. He's so good. He's made in a pitching lab. Like, he is like, everything is perfect. He's now gone, I think, back-to-back starts where he's gone to through 8 innings with less than 100 pitches. I got to 101 pitches today. I turned it off, but it's just freak of nature. It would be very Dodgers too for Tyler Glass now to get there and have his first like 200 inning healthy season. But it's just this was a game you weren't really going to win. To show how weird this game was for the Mets, Mark, who do you think had the hardest hit ball
For the Mets?
Yeah.
Oh man, this has got to be someone weird. Tomas Nido.
Yep, nailed it.
Yes. Was it a line drive to center field?
104. I mean, line drive in the books. Let's see what it actually was. It was,
I think,
a single.
Oh, a single. He got a hit on it. Okay. Because
at 13-degree launch angle in the 8th inning.
I was driving back from Long Island. I went to go visit my Pokemon streamer friends. Shout out Josh and Elliot. They got a retro video game store out in Long Island. If you want to check it out, Retro Island, go give it a look. But I was listening to the game on the radio. First time I've been hearing the game on the radio. Shout out Keith Rad, shout out Pat McCarthy. I wasn't familiar with your guys' work. I just don't listen to the radio. We're friendly, but I've never really listened. You guys are great. You're awesome. And Pat McCarthy in particularly had a hilarious moment where I don't remember exactly what inning it was. It was kind of, I think, during the blow-up of the Mets, or maybe even the 4th inning after Ohtani hit the home run. Foul ball gets hit back into the press area where they are, and he's announcing, he's like, oh, foul ball going right over my head, and then you hear bang and smash, and he's like, oh god, oh, he's like, the ball just hit me in the chest. He's like, it just hit my computer, broke my laptop. The laptop completely white screen, hit him in the chest. He missed it. Keith Rad, check it out. He's like, are you okay? He's like, are you good? Like, I'm genuinely concerned about your well-being right now. That thing was hit hard. He was more embarrassed that I didn't make the play. Very funny moment. The one time I listened to the radio, I get some good content going on there.
Yeah, that was a sneaky all-time radio moment. Pat McCarthy was tweeting about it after. He was like, I've been waiting my whole career for this. I messed it up. I can't believe I messed it up.
He was so upset. He was like, I can't believe I didn't catch that ball.
And now would you do that? You're just in California for another couple of days doing games. You just don't have a computer.
He was saying, he was like, you gotta let people know I'm not going to be able to give them updates. Like, I can't really do any work right now besides when I actually call the game. To be fair, if there was ever a place to be able to go get a computer fix, probably California is one of the better ones. Just the fact that there's a million tech people out there. I'm sure that there's some runoff that company failed and they're like fixing computers now that they could do that for him.
This is funny and stupid. When we started this podcast, I was, of course, on like a 6-week long weird solo trip where I was going through like the Southeast, the Southwest of America. Yeah, literally March, April. I love doing one of these. Arizona, Utah, I wound up in California, and we started doing these episodes for I had like the 50 people who were maybe still listening to this that listened to that one. And the adapter I got for the microphone I just bought had broken when I was on the road. So I was like, shit. I ran to a random Best Buy in San Diego and I got one. I recorded one episode right after that, which I was like,
returned it right back.
Yeah, of course. You can always get computer stuff in California, which is stupid. Also, the other stupid thing about this game, Angel Hernandez, he's just special. I gotta say, so bad.
It's funny now because Angel Hernandez, I think for a while, everybody knew was bad. And then like Twitter came along and everyone on Twitter really blows up every time Angel Hernandez is bad, which is pretty much every single time he's behind home plate, even at first base, whatever he does, he's terrible at his job. But now even the announcers on TV, on the radio, they're just taking shots at Angel Hernandez every single chance they get. And I love it because this guy tried to play like the racist card about why he doesn't get the World Series games. He was like, it's because I'm Latino. They're like, there are plenty of other people of minority races that get into these World Series games. You're just fucking bad at your job, dude.
He's terrible at his job. And he just has such a brash arrogance about being bad at his job. Where it seems like he enjoys making these calls. There was an agent, again, it didn't matter, of course. We're not Bally Sports. We're not going to complain about missed balls and strikes in the game. We lost by double-digit runs. We're okay with it. But Adrian has to pitch right down the middle. They called it the ball. It's like, all right, thanks, Angel. We'll get you next time. But I think that's it for this series.
I got one thing.
What?
I don't know if you caught this, but did you catch the intro to Gavin Stone's outing on SNY?
Oh, yeah, Gary. Yeah, a little Stoney.
Gary. Yeah, he was awesome. He was like, how appropriate, perfect fit that Gavin Stone is making an appearance on April 20th today for the Los Angeles Dodgers.
He had one late in the game. I saw SNY tweeted that was like, a lot of free passes in this game. So extra time for you guys at home to get some more snacks if you're watching it.
I like that. Yeah.
Gary definitely used to be a bit of a hippie. You guys see the picture. The SNY
Saw the
puts it up
long
like
hair.
every year. I don't know what music you used to listen to with that hair, but it was definitely something crazy. New York guy,
Grateful Dead.
Columbia, Ivy League. Like there, he was definitely doing some hallucinogenics up there in Harlem. But it was funny hearing Gary get into the 420 humor. And
Ron loved
last
it as
year, the
well.
Mets were also in LA on 420 because I was there. I remember I was at the game.
Did it?
That was Scherzer got ejected. Think about how long ago that is.
Wait, that was 420? Was that on 420?
That was 419, I believe.
Okay, the next.
That was the same
yeah.
series, and that was also when Brett Beatty got called back up to the team, which is bizarre. I think that was the year.
Feels like a million years ago. Last year is such a blur to me. I don't ever want to think about it again.
All right, so sorry for reminding you. But last thing, baseball talk before we get into this week's media marvel, Andy Martino. JD Martinez got into the field for St. Lucie, got 2 hits. The soft return date people are throwing out there, little breadcrumbs, Friday, which also happens to be my return to Citi Field too.
James is back.
James D. Martinez is going to be back in Citi Field on next Friday night. But it's got to be hilarious for JD Martinez to go play a game in St. Lucie. Like that, low A has to feel like beer league softball for JD Martinez. You just take some swings, jog to first base, like hang out.
A couple guys throwing like 95, but they don't know where it's going. He's like, all right, good luck. Like,
all right, guys. Like I'm 100 guys, so here's a single for you.
Yeah, and then you know what? He might be back just in time for the Mets City Connect debut, which, of course, if you guys saw on Twitter and all social media, the Mets released their City Connect jerseys. They were the leaks. They look just like it. I made a TikTok and an Instagram and a YouTube short on it, so I'm not necessarily going to give my opinion, but I haven't gotten a chance to hear yours, James. We know I like it. What do you think about them?
I think they're totally fine. I've been critical of the City Connects, I think, on this podcast and just to you behind the scenes. I'm very old man. Sometimes my baseball takes, my schedule takes, my jersey takes. It's just like sometimes simpler is better. And I applaud the Mets for not doing too much. An organization internally that a lot of times really tries to do too much. Very proud of them for showing restraint and not making this like a color explosion of purple and orange together. And like the only thing is funny to me about this stuff is that when you have to release like an explainer with like size 14 font about why this jersey's cool, sometimes it just isn't that cool because of that.
We'll say every team does that. That definitely might just be like a whole. I won't take the shot at the Mets for that because every team does it. But yeah, it definitely like makes it a little less cool, and you have to explain like the reasoning behind things. It's not obvious.
Yeah, and like they were like gray for concrete for the city that we live in. It's like, okay, well, you're great for concrete. I get it. Like a tiny bit, good one. Gray, a little more purple would have been nice. A lot of people love the hats. I think the hats kind of stink. The hat's my least.
The hat sucks. I think the hat's by far
part.
the worst part. The hat's horrible. It's
hat
got the Queensboro Bridge. I don't fucking want that.
Looks so dumb. There's no color in the hat at all. It's just a gray hat with a little purple thing on top. Like the NY would have been purple. Take away the bridge. Give me a skyline like the old fucking Mets jersey. And a lot of people didn't like the NYC. They wanted the Queens. I'm fine with either of those. I'm impartial either way.
I got a hot take why they didn't put Queens on the front of it.
Why?
I think there should just be some guys who are like, I would love to not wear a jersey that says Queens on it. Like,
true.
I'm a man. I'm not a queen. Like, I can see that being a thing.
Or also, it's like, I'm from Brooklyn. I don't want Queens on my jersey. But
and also, you have to keep in mind the Yankees are not getting City Connect jerseys. So this is the only New York City City Connect jersey. Had the Yankees gotten one, I think there's a chance it has Queens or Flushing or something more.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Queens rather than just New York City. But this is the only New York City Connect jersey.
And then just something else I'm really proud of the Mets for doing is the white pants. We've seen so many teams, I've talked about this specifically, go monochromatic head to toe. The Rockies going green ups, green downs. The Dodgers going blue head to toe. It's bad. It looks really bad. So really happy that the Mets did this. Like blew the Phillies out of the water, just probably released the worst uniform any sports team has ever or will ever wear in the history of organized sport, like going back to the days of the Romans and stuff. So it's just, I think that the Mets did totally fine, which in terms of City Connects is really good. But also I just a plea to Major League Baseball. Can we just wear some of the old school jerseys more? We should have weeks every single season where the Mets have a series against the Cardinals and we're rocking 70s, 80s uniforms. The Mets are playing the Cubs, we're in 80s uniforms. Like, you know what I mean? Like we're playing the Phillies, we're in the 90s uniforms. Like we should have rivalry weeks in the old uniforms. Like all teams should do this. Like I'd love to see the Yankees and the A's play series. I mean, the Yankees, every uniform is the same, so maybe they're not the best example for this.
But make them wear the burlap sack again. Like,
yeah, sure. Or when the Diamondbacks head in to play the Yankees, like they were the 2001 purples.
Yep.
Like they I'd love to see the Rockies break the vest back out. Like just these old school jerseys are so much better than anything anyone's come up with in the last 25 years. You guys should really lean into that because people will buy them. People buy them all the time from China, and they spend no money to do it.
Well, it's the stupid Major League Baseball rules where you can only have 4 jerseys for the season. And I don't understand ever why leagues limit that, because all you're doing is limiting money that can be made. Like you said, the Mets, I guess it was 2016, they wore the 86 jerseys on Sundays. I loved that. I love the 86 jersey look when you sprinkle it in on certain dates. Like you said, bring back the old school look, the 90 jersey, the black jersey obviously looks great. You know which jersey I wish they would bring back that I think they really only wore once or twice was the 9/11 white no pinstripes with New York across the front, the Javi Baez Lindor era. That jersey is like one of the best jerseys the Mets have ever had. You can't get it anywhere. I wish they would sell it. Why is Major League Baseball so scared to make more money?
I don't know. We know this year they've saved a lot of money on jersey preparation. So I think we have more in the bank now. Maybe we can offer teams a 5th one for the season. But it's enough jersey talk, that baseball stuff. Now we got to get to, everyone's favorite news segment of this show. Yes. We've had some people drop some names on there. If someone does get one that sticks, men of our word, we will send you a Jose Budo autograph card. But it's Media Marvels right now. I love the idea of branding this either for Buster only or for this week's participant, just because I like to keep someone's name, like really take shots at someone over and over again. Only fans, only scams are 2 of the ones I like so far. I think I even just like the term busted, but then there's no media term in it. But just for now, still Media Marvels this week. It goes to the one, the only, the person that this really is about. Like we hate Buster Olney, but Buster Olney is kind of like when you're with your girlfriend and the really hot girl walks by. I'm talking about that meme everyone's seen. You turn your head and you look. But the one that you're always with, the one that you always remember as being probably one of the worst people for the New York Mets ever in media, is none other than Andy Martino. He dropped possibly his magnus opus this weekend, Friday afternoon, I believe.
Yeah, I don't know if you have the exact tweet pulled up. Maybe you can read it more.
It's coming. It's loading right now.
But he was taking shots at the rally pimp, Max Wiener, the rally pimp. Everybody knows him. You've seen him, the guy with the crazy hair, dressing up wild, dressing up like a pimp for the games. Andy Martino said this. What did he say?
Andy Martino quoting a Metsmerized tweet, which, again, amazing for them because this tweet went, great. And they've been doing a lot of rally pimp stuff going on. He was on their podcast. He was on Barstool's podcast. Like Max Wiener just seems like a dope guy. I don't want to do like awkward podcast shit with him. I'd love to like get really drunk with him in the game. I think that'd be fun. He's like a 24-year-old Mets fan who's trying to do stand-up comedy, lives in the East Village. Kind of feels like our vibe. But Andy Martino tweets this tweeted picture of this 24-year-old who's been an inspiration to Mets fans so far early this season. Pimp imagery is problematic on so many levels. Let's think about it for 2 seconds. Can we please not make this a big part of the 2024 Mets imagery? Cue the replies about woke culture, blah, blah. I don't care. I'm right about this. Why would you not want this? Say, I don't want to make this a big part of the imagery. All you did, Andy Martino, is you just guaranteed this would be the biggest part of the Mets imagery for as long as Max wants this to be. And you are so dense. You're so annoying. You're such a little fucking grabbling weasel. I just can't stand you, you motherfucker.
Well, he's a Philly fucking rat. That's why. Andy Martino's from Philly. He's another. There's so many sleeper cells in this fucking organization between Andy Martino and Michael Tonkin. And I don't know, Ender Inciarte played some games for this team. The original rat bastard. Like, sleeper cells. I'm tired of them. Andy Martino being one of them. Did you see Max's TikTok Instagram reel that he made in reply to this? He was like, here are some other ideas instead of being a rally pimp at the game. Incredible stuff. He was like, rally Ebenezer Scrooge. And he was like dressed up in the pajamas and everything with the candle. I was like, if he starts pulling those out, I mean, it's almost going to be a reason to go to the game because, you can buy upper deck seats for like $5.
That's what I'm saying. I want to hit him up. I'm like, I want to watch a game with you in my kimono. Like, you got a kimono? Like, let's have fun. Like, rally kimonos.
I have the giraffe mask. I'll wear the giraffe mask to the game. That's what it'll be. James goes kimono. I'll go giraffe mask. He goes rally pimp. We watch for a game and get hammered.
Exactly. So much about the Citi Field right now has become like very exclusive. Like, ooh, we have lobster bisque on a burger. Yeah. Like, no, I just want to get drunk and have some fun. But also, like, Max Wiener didn't call himself a rally pimp. Everybody else, like SNY, Mesmerized, they kept putting his name on him, and he just like looked like a pimp because he had the crazy hair and the big jacket. But this kind of got Mark and I thinking. Also, there was just some great replies. Jerry Blevins ratioed him. Our boy Jordan ratioed him. a legendary ratio, 1.5 1,500 replies and 600 quote tweets on this tweet from Andy Martino. One of the best ratios I've ever seen on Twitter. It's going back a ways there. So bad, but this really got us thinking about Andy Martino. And like he kind of deserves to take some shit for a lot of the horrible things he said. Mark, I know this is a fight that's near and dear to you, but all the horrible things he said over the years, you being blocked by him especially. So just
not blocked. Not blocked. That's the one thing he hasn't done. The coward John Heyman has me blocked. Andy Martino, that's the only thing I'll give him, has not blocked me.
So take our listeners down memory lane, some of the things that Andy Martino said through the years, just to remind people about what his takes are normally like.
All right, let's start off with a hot one. Let's go with, an article he wrote in 2015 for the New York Daily News. And here's the headline. New York Mets Jacob deGrom, gets the hype, but Yankees Michael Pineda is even better. And you go, oh, no, he's not. What a bad take. Stick to report. This is where I don't like Andy Martino. This actually is exactly why. Because there's a difference between reporting and giving your opinion. Hey, Andy, no one gives a fuck about your opinion. You don't know ball. I don't want to hear what you have to say. Report the news. And that's where he gets all sort of screwed up, is when he starts to give his own opinion or what he thinks is going to happen. Some other tweets of Andy Martino's. This is a reply that I had to a tweet of his from 2 seasons ago. Wow, 2022. July 17th, he said, would you deal Francisco Alvarez, Mark Vientos, Brett Beatty, and more for Juan Soto? Love him. The answer is yes. Early word is Nationals see Mets and Yankees as a fit would begin with asks like the above. 2 days later, he's on SNY on TV talking and goes, people involved are not seeing the Nationals overly willing to make Juan Soto a Met. I'm like, so what was that fucking report you had 48 hours ago? Like, this is what sucks about modern reporting too. Not to take a little bit of the shine off Andy Martino. He's not the only one who does this, but it's just so much about names, numbers, clicks, this and that. It's actually not about being right at all, that you can put out garbage content and then 2 days later say, oh yeah, I was wrong. Here's actually what's happening. And there's really no consequences for it. So Andy Martino, you suck. James, you want to take one? Click around on the links that I threw in the doc. You can have some fun with this.
Oh, I threw one. I sent one to you. I'm going to take that one first because this is just as weird and grim and bad as it gets. Andy Martino, a guy who seems very, very concerned with the way that things are right now. He's very concerned with pimp imagery because Max Wiener is definitely, he's pimping women on First Avenue. He's definitely doing everything like this. Yeah. He had a tweet from 2018. At this point, he quote tweeted himself, Jose Reyes on the team as reports determining when to move on. As Drew Cabrera health complicates, all just to emphasize will be a baseball decision. Andy Martino continues, IMO would rather have 2018 Reyes on this roster than Guillorme. If Callaway puts Reyes in more positions to succeed, but the team doesn't ask my opinion, and they're looking for a way to move on from the veteran. So Andy Martino doesn't like that a 24-year-old young man who's trying to be a stand-up comedian is dressing funny, and people have called him a pimp. But Jose Reyes, who, again, in terms of Mets lore, great player, was pretty horrible human being.
Threw his wife through a glass door. Yeah.
So it's a weird time for Andy Martino to draw these lines for someone that
also 2018 Jose Reyes was so insanely bad. He hit 189 with a 580 OPS. That was the guy you were like, can't believe the Mets are pushing him out of here.
Statistically, I think one of the worst seasons we've ever seen in baseball history.
It's really bad. It's like Javi Baez levels.
It's like a 50 OPS plus for like 300 plate appearances. There's no reason he should have been playing baseball at that point.
Absolutely not. Here's another one from Andy Martino, just clicking around on the Google Docs. We got so many tweets here. Oh, this is a good one from 2018. You guys remember where you were December 10th at 11:15 p.m.? Because I do. I was in my dorm, or I was in my apartment in South Carolina freaking out because Andy Martino puts Noah Syndergaard to the Yankees is a real possibility. Fucking, that didn't happen. I remember freaking out, being like, what is going on? Why are we making these trades? Who is this new GM that's an agent? What is he doing with this team? Thank God that didn't happen. There's also a couple other ones in there with Andy Martino talking about trades and what he would do and whatnot. This, where was it going? Let me find it real quick and click it. I've got so many links going here.
Was it Brody Van Wagner's best non-JD Davis moves?
Yes, that was it. That was the one. Yeah, best non-JD Davis moves. Cano is good. We know that wasn't the case. Justin Wilson and Chazen Shreve, what two weird players to pick as like great guys to be big moves for Brody Van Wagenen. Fans seem to like starting the season with Alonso last year, though I don't. So he's admitting for some reason that he was totally against having Pete Alonso up in 2019 when there was no other option. Pete had to be up. He had an amazing spring training. It would have been malpractice if Pete didn't start the season up. Don't know why he was proud of that. And then he goes on to say Beltran and Rojas, both good hires. Marisnik solid. So Carlos Beltran, who never managed a game as the Mets, one of the great hires. Luis Rojas, his predecessor, he didn't even know at the time. And then Jake Marisnik, like we're calling Jake Marisnik solid. When did that happen?
I'll say this. How much would you like for Pete Alonso to have one more year of team control right now to play devil's advocate?
Yeah, that'd be great. But like, that's the only reason in terms of actual play. He's got hit fucking 52 home runs, 53.
I also didn't realize that this Martino tweet was actually in reply to DJ Short. Shout out DJ, great guy.
Yes.
Love Roto World.
Fan of the pod.
There you go. But I think there's one more here that you have where similar to Andy Martino having this incredible foresight with Pete Alonso, there seemed to be another time where he had some incredible foresight. Not when he said a trusted baseball source who's worked with Jared Porter, down to earth, great person, knows his shit. That one was way wrong. That one was way off.
Not a great person whatsoever.
No, yeah, we don't know if he knew his shit. He didn't have the job long enough. But there was one more you sent me that is maybe the creepiest and most sinister thing that Andy Martino's ever tweeted.
Yeah, so Andy Martino, where did this tweet go? I texted it to you. Got to go to the text chain here. But you guys remember Mickey Callaway? Remember how it was the worst kept secret in sports that he was like a sexual assailant? So in 2017 in October, it's not funny, but it is. Andy Martino tweeted out, Mickey Callaway seems like a really good guy, but remember that there is a festering evil smoldering inside each and every one of us. Did this guy fucking know? And he just kept it to himself? Again, best kept secret in baseball, apparently. But if it was that well known, again, this was a problem that I had with reporting at the time, too, when this Callaway stuff happened. Bad guy, terrible. But if everybody knew about it, why did nobody step up and say anything? Like, you guys are all just as responsible as the team that hired him.
No, and speaking of great guys, Marcell Ozuna just hit another home run. Literally cannot believe that he's carrying the Braves right now, and all but the piece of shit.
You know what? That's also so annoying too. The Mets went on a 6-game win streak and didn't gain a single game in the division because the Phillies and Braves also hadn't lost.
I mean, it's just I almost this year we almost have to pull all those guys out. I know,
but it's just like I gotta get mad about that for a second.
I know, but hey, guys, that was a Media Marvel this week. Hit us back if you guys think of names for that. Hit us back if you guys think that's a good segment. If you guys like hearing us take shots at people, usually we'll probably do a few of those in an episode. But Martino is just such a unique, enigmatic figure in the Mets universe that we had to designate all this time to him this week. But that's that. Again, hit us up if you like it. If you don't like it, we don't really care. Just throw us some comments about it. But no, I mean, we don't care if you don't like it. If you don't like it, we're not going to take it personally. Of course, we care. That's not what I meant. We'll never take it personally. Tell us that. We'll change up. We'll do new things. But going to end the episode now. Preview of the San Francisco Giants series staying out in Cali for the next few days. And we have pitching matchups in the series is how I'll phrase them. We have pitching matchups. Cool.
What are those pitching matchups?
Monday, Jose Quintana versus Keaton Winn.
Ooh,
Tuesday, these are 9:45s, Monday and Tuesday. Luis Severino versus Logan Webb, actual ace-off. And then Wednesday at 3:45, an afternoon game, nice little drive home from work game. Sean Manaea versus Blake Snell, another ace-off. So 3 ace-offs this series. I like the lefty matchup. These are all lefties too. Similar to how last week when it was fun to see Hauser versus Martin Perez just fucking just throwing colors and sinkers all over the place. Nice to see 2 lefties getting after it here. But this is going to be an interesting series. The Giants are a team that I think is good, but I think is not great. I think they're a team that if you want to be a wild card contender, like we want them to be a wild card contender, this is a team that's probably going to be around you when September 1st hits. They're a few games under 500 now, but Blake Snell has just come in and he's not been good at all so far. But I think
it's almost like he hasn't had a spring training.
It's weird. Yeah, it's almost like he's not ready for this. But I'm assuming it's something that I'm assuming they will get better. Their lineup is again. It's fine, but it's not great. I think it could be better, but also could be worse. It's weird that Nick Ahmed is playing like most days. Matt Chapman is pretty good, but also bad like he has been the last few years. Thairo Estrada, for some reason, just started striking out a lot. He's never really done that before. Nope. Jung-Hoo Lee coming over from Korea has been awesome so far, but not really gotten to a lot of power, which is exactly the book with him. Something Mets fans are going to like and hate this series. If you didn't know it, Michael Conforto is fucking back. It took him like 2 or 3 years. The shoulder is good, and he's been probably their best all-around player so far in the season. It's a weird team. Like, it's always a weird team for them. It seems like they're a team who kind of knows their backs are up against the wall, kind of have to make a playoff push this year. But a series where, again, let's take 2 out of 3 again, even though we're facing their 2 best pitchers, and just keep trying to grind this thing out and get back home for the weekend.
Random player that you're going to hear about this week against the Giants, Tyler Fitzgerald. You ever heard of that guy?
No.
Yeah, Tyler Fitzgerald. He's a utility player. He's hitting 273. He's got 6 hits and 22 at bats. He's also weirdly pitched 2 innings for the Giants. So I guess he's their mop-up guy whenever they're getting shelled. But yeah, you get to San Francisco in April, it is going to be cold. It is going to
So
be
cold.
windy. It is going to be the ball's going to be flying in or it's going to be flying out. It's going to be a weird one. Probably a lot of low-scoring games if I had to guess here, just because of the atmosphere and the environment. But this is a very, very beatable team. It's just Logan Webb and Blake Snell can literally shut this lineup down because they are very, very good pitchers, and Logan Webb has really turned it around after those first couple tough starts. Got to get to Keaton win, though. First game of the series is super important. Go ahead and get that win. Jump all over him.
Keenan's not that bad. He's actually had a nice start to the season. I think he's a pesky little pitcher. They're developing out there. Happy we're missing Jordan Hicks, who they have turned into a starter, and he looks ferociously filthy. Really also, Kyle Harrison, exciting young pitcher with a crazy left-handed fastball. Missing him too, but you guys are going to see Tyler Rogers, who we all just hate so much, throwing some submariners. Camilo Doval's amazing. If you get to a 9th inning with him, watch out.
They got names on this team I've never heard of. Landon Roop?
I knew you were just looking at him.
Eric Miller, K-Way Tang.
Ryan Walker's fun. He's got a weird sinker, slider, changeup thing going on. He's like their glue guy this year. He's the new Junis. Oh, actually, no, he's actually a traditional reliever right now. That's crazy. He was the glue guy last year. I thought he would be the glue guy again, but he's really funky and weird. They have a Dalton Jeffries. Yeah, Jeffries. They're the king of creative players. They're just throwing everything against the wall right now because I think they really have to make the playoffs if Farhan Zaidi wants to keep this job.
Yes.
If he misses and he gets fired, what an insanity run that'll go down as that one 2021 when he was unstoppable. This team was unstoppable, but
when Brandon Crawford came back to life,
and Buster Posey then retired. But this is again a series that if you want to be a wild card team, take 2 out of 3 from these guys because you're going to be against them. So it'd be nice to take some from them in their park early.
Definitely. It's winnable. I'm excited to see what the series looks like. Again, even those extra 15, 20 minutes earlier, love that on the West Coast games. Not that I'm going to not be awake for that because I go to bed at 3 o'clock in the morning anyway, but it's just nice. It's nice to get those 15 minutes.
Yeah, and I'll come back to America for the next pod. So this will be my last European podcast for a little while. Maybe not a long time, but a little while.
Yeah, for last one on European soil, at least for a couple weeks, let's say.
Yeah, at minimum.
At minimum. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for watching this episode of the Mets'd podcast. Remember to follow us on all our social media at Mets'd. Big shout out to everybody following us on Instagram. Shit's going crazy over there. Like, I can't believe the amount of followers we're getting. I don't know. Maybe we're good at Instagram. Maybe we didn't know that we were good at it this whole time, but we're gaining an insane amount of followers over there. So really do appreciate it. We've got actually another review on the podcasting, which if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, you can write us a review and we can read it out and shout you guys out. So
this person hit me up. I don't remember his name. He was DMing me. He said, if the Mets win the series against Dodgers, you guys get a 5-star review. I was like, we just get it anyway. And he was like, rules are rules. And then he was like, I'm a man of my word. His name is actually, it's spelled D1CKARUS. You guys can pronounce it however you'd like.
Yeah. I see it. Okay, so this one comes from Great Britain on Apple Podcasts. Got a British person, STE404, 5 stars. Simply amazing. Shout out to you for that. Appreciate it. The perfect combo of passion, analysis, reaction, insights, stats, and prospect reports with a little international travel tips thrown in there for good measure. Simply the best Mets podcast to keep up to date on all things orange and blue and beyond. Keep up the amazing work, guys. Thank you, ST. We do appreciate you. Again, if you want to get a shout on the podcast, leave us a review. Again, we prefer the positive ones, but if you think we suck, tell us we suck and we'll read it out and it'll be funny for us here at the end of the episode. Subscribe to the Mets'd Podcast YouTube channel. We're doing big things over there. Keep growing. Follow James on Twitter at
James_Shiano.
And me at Giraffnik Mark with a C. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Peace out.
See you guys next time. Let's go Mets. Let's go Knicks. Let's go Rangers.